Right, I suppose we are online now, right? Cool. Hi, everyone. I'm glad to see you all. Yeah, so Friday evening, good time to talk. So my name is Dmitry. I'll play the role of the moderator of today's discussion. So we will talk about BA and DM collaboration, patterns and anti-patterns and so on and all around it. So we have three main topics. It's about BA, how to measure BA, and BA collaboration. So basically here we have great team from different roles. I would like to introduce it briefly. So we have delivery management side. It's Yury. It's our delivery and product manager who manages internal project at EPAM. So we have Kiryl here. It's a business unit partner who manages a different portfolio projects and program at EPAM as well. So we have Iryna. It's our senior business analyst. Darya, our team lead from BA as well, and Ola, also our team lead from BA side. However, Ola have a delivery management experience as well. So glad to hear you guys here. Personally, I'm really interested in a discussion what we have today. For the auditory, guys, we have in community that Q&A special chat, right? So you may go there and click and Q&A and put your question to our speaker. During the discussion, I will see the chat and put question to discuss, and we will get started. So I would like to start from some provocative question, basically. In some projects, from my side as a manager, I saw that there is no BAs at all, and it works well. So guys, probably let's get started to think, do we really need a BA? How it's important? So Kiryl, I'll pass word to you. What do you think?
Maybe, but the actual answer might be a bit more complicated. If even you don't have a dedicated person, you still have to implement and execute all the business analysis tasks on a project, at any project, in any stage, and in any state. So answering your provoking question, of course, there are plenty of examples when projects and even accounts do not have dedicated BAs at the position, but they still have a BA as a function that need to be implemented somehow. Yury, anything to add?
Well, I just can support you in this statement, and I agree that typically we are saying about the function itself. In the mixed teams, we might have different other guys in a different roles who play this. And I think we need to recall what exactly BAs are doing typically in the project. And from my point of view, it's quite important to understand that it's not only just work on requirements. In most cases, it's kind of a bridge between the client and the engineering team, for example. It's also the person who helped to understand the better ways how we can implement the product and so on and so on. That's why it depends on the setup, depends on the type of engagement we are working on. This role can be dedicated, this role can be shared, or again, even in some cases it can be even not required, but I really don't show a lot of that cases, only in very, very rare case. So typically we do need BAs, we do need the function in place. So here I agree with you. That's why to answer the question from Dima would be, I would suggest to have this role on the projects. So guys from BA team, probably you can comment. What do you think?
The only thing that I would like to add to your great words is just when we need to be very, very careful when we select somebody from the team who are not BA but help to do this function, because this person should have these like a BA mindset when he thinks not only about the great solution that we used to develop, because we're all interested in the different interesting things around their technologies and functionality, but also think about the problems and help our clients think not only about the solutions, but also about the problems and their goals. All other, I think it's perfect.
Moreover, guys, I faced several situations when some functions, some technical functions were delivered, were sent to business analysts, and it was quite hard to accommodate all of this stuff, being so technical to provide the details to the technical team, to development team, and being so, skilled in a soft skills in a domain area, and to provide collaboration with customer, gather all the requirements and so on and so forth. So I will be maybe be careful also with assigning so many functions to business analysts, and possibly divide it into two parts, and somehow collaborate with architecture in some ways. And let's discuss further about the roles and activities. So from my side, I would maybe admit this small specific function that should be careful managed.
Yeah, Dmitry, and you've mentioned before that project works well without BA. I would say project will work much better with BA role. Yeah.
All right, so am I right? So if I have, let's say, QA, and I say, okay, I need a BA role, right? So let's manage it, mix it up. So what do you think? It's a good idea to have like two roles in one person in general. I already heard, but anyway, probably it may work.
I can say honestly, on my career path, I several times performed two roles at the same time, QA and BA, and the next time BA and DM. Honestly, it's a better idea. It's my vision. It's a really overhead for the person, and sometimes you are, in the middle. Between making some decision. So sometimes you need to make quality, and sometimes you should make some business decision. And how to accommodate that? You need to be really, really senior person to make a correct decision here.
I also can add that yesterday, during one of the panel discussions of our conference, we also discussed the point around combining two roles of product manager and business analyst. And we also agreed together with guys that it's too difficult, because when you are doing business analysis work, working on all the details, functional requirements, there is no time and no opportunity to go up and think on some strategic high-level things. It's also too difficult for one person to do both this work great.
Yeah, what I'd like to add, maybe it will be easier for us all to answer this question if we just list some reasons or triggers when we need to separate that guy. And first reason is actually domain knowledge. And as for me, is crucial one. And if someone, especially as it was said with BA mindset, had a specific knowledge, it will be a huge benefit for any project. Next one is a complex structure, nature of requirements. So combining two roles in a single person really might be overwhelmed in this case. And actually, just a question of a load. If it is a significant one, it may be a reason to organize even a team of business analysis. And specialized education, actually knowing how to do this kind of tasks, is also an issue. You may actually understand high level how to do it, but it's definitely better when you have someone who's skilled, who has some experience doing typical and non-typical tasks of business analysis on a project. So that's the answer for myself. At least I'm answering myself during the project setup when I needed BA.
Yeah, I would like to support guys in terms of knowledge and expertise, because definitely in case it's a complex domain or complex industry of the project, we definitely need more skilled guys who understand at least the terminologies, objectives within this project, and so on and so on. Most probably the mixed role will not work, because in most cases QA guys, whatever else, dev guys will not have these knowledges and will not be able to properly communicate to customer, for example, to clarify the requirements. But there are other cases indeed, and you know, in my practice, combination of QA/BA roles are most frequent career paths, just because QA guys typically understand how to ask questions, they understand how to deep dive into details, and kind of naturally they are more close to the BA nature of work. But again, if it's a complex setup, experience in a domain will be the key factor here, and will not work like from the very beginning. So that's why I really recommend to think about that from scratch, to understand your challenges, and then decide if you can mix it for simple cases and grow BA, for example, in a team, or just go with an expert and make it successful.
But it's still, I would recommend to remember about the other side of the same medal. What is actually might be against? A limited expected workload, one of the points, or function might be covered by client side or third-party vendor. And finally, budget limitations. So you should be wise selecting the approach and actually arguing for one or another way of implementing the BA on your project. It just to explain that it's not always the same for any project, or if something triggers you for getting BA as a separate one, there still might be some arguments against. So please be careful.
Right, guys, it's interesting. Let's probably elaborate a bit. So we need BAs clear, so we need business domain and actually deep knowledge in that, and communication skills and client-facing skills and so on. You also said there are like a BA mindset, right? Let's probably be more clear. What does it mean? Well, yeah, I heard about client mindset. I heard about any other mindset. What does it mean BA mindset?
I believe I need to be the first. For me, BA mindset, it's when the person is focused not on the solutions at the first, but when the person is focused on the problems, on the customer problems, on finding the right problems, because very often clients came and just say to us that, oh, this is bad, but you need to do all the analysis together with him and understand that maybe this was just the case, but not the corner case. And we need to help them to find corner case and find his exact problem. So for me, business analyst, it's a person who helps our client to find their real problem first, and then to create and design some solutions for their problem. But it's my mind.
That's great, guys. What
Complete
do you
answer.
It's hard to argue, really. Hard to argue with that. But I would want to say that the name of the title actually explains things. It's a business and analysis, right? It means that person should really understand how to analyze organization, business, and really help solve problems. That's indeed a different mindset, because other roles might be more focused on specific tasks, but business analysts should understand the picture in general as a whole. And then in most cases, even now, we have again kind of combined roles of BA/PO, who really deep dive into business, into product, and helps to make right decisions. So that's why it's also a part of the job already, I would say, for the senior BAs. So agree with Dasha.
Also, Connect, for me, it's very important for BA to be quite flexible in changing a bit roles, because with the team, you play on the side of the customer, but with the customer, you have to play on the side of the team, and you constantly change the sides. And to if to come back to our previous question, to combine the roles, then one side will be like major for you if you are QA and BA. But if you are just BA, this flexibility is a must.
Yeah, flexibility is an important skill, because as I see throughout the whole project life cycle, you have to be different on different stages. I mean, and acquire different habits and approaches. At the very beginning, it's really understanding of business problem statement and converting into requirements. At the very end, it's actually complete attention to change management and to the launch of the solution somewhere. So really a person who changed the masks throughout the project and helping all the sides that we already mentioned, client and its own team.
Yeah, it should be the best player in Mafia.
Yeah, exactly my thoughts, you know, exactly. All right, okay, so it seems
Dima,
clear.
can I step in? I would like maybe
Sure.
say some interesting fact. You're all the same business analysts, but you are almost always forgot about the system analysis. And here I would maybe just step in and just explain that business analyst who is usually assess the business and can propose some solutions. It's a quite skilled business analytic with domain knowledge. It's usually senior and higher. When we are talking about the business analysts and working with the requirements, it's mostly requirements analysts, just writing the requirements, decomposing the apex features, and so on and so forth. And the last stage is the system analysis. And here, it's a quite technical position with a quite specific knowledge, and it's a more or less, you know, like a team member near to the development team who usually helps with this system architecture and building some solutions and so on and so forth. And maybe if we split that to 3 parts, that will be really more clear. What's the functions, what the expectations, and so on and so forth.
Okay, cool, great comments, thank you. So all right guys, so let's move on. So before we will go to the next topic, guys who is watching us, I'm checking, you know, the page with the Q&A, still do not see anything. So don't forget, if you have any questions or comments, just put it in this window and we will answer it. Okay, so let's move on. It's clear we need business analyst, at least in a role. It probably makes it, right? So the probably pain from management side, how to measure actually, how to understand that this BA is good. Guys, what do you think?
Okay, seems I need to answer once again. The first one to answer. Well, I understand the whole project as a value flow. And from the very beginning till the very end, till the launch of any business idea implemented in a code, artifact, whatever. And across all this, let's say, line, I see sort of gates where business analysis is required and should be somehow executed as a task. And understanding where it is, how it influences the rest of the flow, what are the issues or blockers out there, may give me an answer if it is a quality business analysis task or not. And as of I would assume you would ask next, what are the metrics, KPIs that need to be used to assess business analysis? There won't be any silver bullet answer, because again, projects are different, that value flows are different. And what I would start with, being a manager in any project, I will draw it down for myself, how it looks like, where is business analysis actually is running and implementing, and trying to answer myself what metrics can be applied there. There won't be any one metric that would say, you definitely do a good job. First of all, they need to be split at least on 2 sides, qualitative metrics and quantitative metrics. The one side demonstrates me how actually it helps the rest of the team to convert ideas and requirements to implementation. And the second part is actually says me how fast we are, what is the velocity, and etc. Yury, please help me to be more maybe precise with the answer, because I see Dmitry is.
Yeah, before you started, I heard a crazy idea, you know, how to measure BA. It's absolutely
Not the BA function that
BA
is
function,
implementing. Yeah,
it's a lines of the text of the requirements. Believe it?
Oh, only if it was actually a value for a project, it might be one of the metrics. But I hardly believe that there are plenty of such projects. So answer first, what is the value and how it is flowing from the very beginning to the very end of your project lifecycle.
You know, actually, it's interesting that I came with such story. It wasn't my experience. Yeah. And, but after some days of thinking, I came to the conclusion that probably it can be a way to use such metric, but it's should be a repetitive check of such lines for the same tasks. And if such there will be like more lines or less lines, we can check if the business analyst will be more deep into details or less like using common requirements, and the team could be more mature because business analyst will write 3 lines and the functionality will be implemented perfectly. And if they will write like 200 lines, it will be still poor soft at the very end. But if you do a repetitive check, maybe not for delivery manager, but maybe for mentor or BA team lead, maybe there is such a value for this. I mean, it's hard to measure. It will take time. It may be such a little value, but yeah, I came with this story and I found a reason for it. Maybe not for this DM, but maybe for me, for myself.
Any alternative opinions?
Well, yeah, I can share mine. I some kind of agree with both of you guys, and I can imagine the situation when different ways can be applied. But from my point of view, again, it's not possible to use some specific metrics to say that a good or bad BA or function. It's always a combination. Anyway, I'm like a person who is working a lot with productivity frameworks and building some of them. I know how measurements are kind of beneficial from data-driven point of view. That's why I can imagine that we try to measure everything. Line of codes, line of requirements, and so on. That's kind of a trend, I would say. Not always really successful, but still. Anyway, from my point of view, it's really important to look at that from different angles. And one of them is for sure, as Kiryl mentioned, is to understand how valuable is BA for the team. It can be measured in different ways by, I don't know, quality of requirements based on the feedback from stakeholders and teams, because it's important. Number of objectives achieved, number of, I don't know, project concept successfully completed, and so on, so on. It can be a lot, but they are all about the same goal, how BA really achieved the goal of the project and business. That's one side. Another side, we still need to know some numbers to understand speed of BA work, I don't know, velocity of the team, and so on, That's why sometimes we can use more operational metrics, I would say, which say, all right, we have a BA who can create, I don't know, 25, 30 story points for the next week. It means that my team will have this backlog in place. And delivery managers typically need to ask these questions, and they need to measure somehow the speed of BA team, I would say, this way. And also it can be different metrics to be applied, starting from simple velocity of BA team in story points of completed and ready for dev stories, till some crazy stuff like line of codes, line of requirements. It depends.
I'm really happy that you said about the story points, because once you just told us about the number of stories, I just may say that as soon as you say that the productivity of mine will be measured by the number of stories, I will create 1,000 stories. And just the question to you, how would you assess whether the stories really needed or really, I don't know, gives any value to the product. Because I can do a story for, I don't know, I can imagine that they can be really, really granular in this case.
Yeah, that's also true. That's why I said that the first part is crucially important, even more important than just operational metrics. If the stories we create,
please don't go away from the question. Just let's imagine. I would like to imagine it. Let's imagine we have a BA. He creates lots of stories. What will we do to understand that this story is really valuable and he is really good?
Well, again, if to talk about the quality of the stories, not the quantity, it's quite simple. Again, you can visit the grooming and you can see how many questions team asks, right? If it's well-defined story, typically it's not a lot. It's all explained and well-defined. Most of the criteria met, you know, the structure of that, and that's all kind of well done. That's one potential way to understand that. But if it's one-line story with no explanation, it typically triggers a lot of communication and time spent on the meetings and blah, blah, blah. If to talk about the quantity, indeed, sometimes it's better to create more stories, but more in more granular way, because we want to do it kind of step by step, rather than just create one big one kind of story and implement it for a couple sprints. It depends on the process, I would say. I saw both ways of doing this. Sometimes, actually, personally, I prefer more granular requirements, more granular stories to be documented, but with a good quality, and it's more challengeable, typically for BA team. But sometimes, again, because of time limitations, any other criteria of the project, we cannot really afford that, and we really spend less time on analysis. So we accept less prepared stories to speed up the team in general and to achieve some project goals. So again, use common sense to understand the quality, use feedback from teams and stakeholders to understand the quality and real success of the project. That's my way of checking.
I don't want to upset you, but I know that a lot of BAs behind the screen when did some like facepalm when you said about questions on grooming. I'm 100% sure the quality of written stories and number of questions on grooming are connected in very, very ideal world, because it's happens every second story when you come to grooming, and because of some reasons, shy team or maybe distracted team, any reasons, but the quality of the story reflects the number of questions. It's sad. We want more questions on grooming. We want detailed discussion about it, but unfortunately, it's a huge problem for us. And by measuring our performance with questions on grooming, we can go to really, really different directions.
I just said that is one of the ways. Another one, it could be the number of stories which were successfully delivered to the client and accepted by the client. Because, you know, there are a lot of cases when we create some stories, but they are not what client wants. And BA miss some interpretation between client when it passed to teams and so on and so on. That's also a way. Again, it's just one of the options. But I would agree, guys, if you can share your experience. I mean, what would you expect as an ideal way to measure?
That was my question, Iryna.
And my question actually too.
How would you like to be not assessed, but how we should measure the performance of the BA team? Yeah. Please explain us.
I would maybe here just answer the question from my side to Darya's question, how to measure, how to understand that BA did or does the correct or maybe valuable stories or maybe valuable work. So easy way is just a traceability, just to trace all of the stories to the business values, to the business goals, and maybe to map it to the roadmap. And as Darya said, we can create a lot of stories to the backlog, but the ideal world when we are delivering the stories that should be implemented in the nearest time, according to the roadmap, bringing the value, or maybe rebuilding this traceability based on the changes on a customer side, changes in the world, or maybe changes in the platform, and so on and so forth. So being, not a flexible, but being and holding all of this stuff like traceability requirements, business requirements, and even user stories up to date, it's maybe for myself, it's a key point of the performance of the business analyst.
Up to date, just enough, and not blocking the chain, right?
Yes, exactly.
Great. And actually, I believe that I demonstrate one of the ways how to overcome the problem of misunderstanding. There is only one way to overcome it: to talk to each other, to ask what you're expecting from me as a manager, from me as a team, from me as a client to do in this particular period of time of the project, in this particular task or process. If you feel that something is not doing the right way, you have plenty of other tools like retrospectives, like feedback sessions, like demos, etc., where you can actually raise all of the concerns and try to solve them. Not at once. It's actually continuous work. You need to first understand that it happens. Then you need to understand how to articulate it to the rest of the team, to the client, and third, to actually build a plan to improve, and then follow the plan. So it's a continuous work. And if you have any problems of that kind that were mentioned, like they're expecting me to make 100 or 1,000, I don't know, stories a day, and it's impossible. It's just for nothing. Raise a hand. Said there is no reason to do that. It provides no value just because. And there are plenty of arguments might be. And again, that side might say, no, there is a value. And if it's really a value, you would need a bit different and to build up a bit different vision on your side. That is conversation, communication. That's our power, I would say, the power of any team.
Yeah,
I agree.
Completely agree. But I would like just to mention that and try to start answering to your questions about the ideal measurement that we can see. That I think that this discussion about the assessing business analysis, productivity, efficiency, and performance appears a lot with some reason. Because when we are talking about the business analyst, we are talking not only about the amount of the requirements and amount of the details that the team has, we also talk about this real and exact problem that we found and the right solutions for that problem that we found. And in this case, it's really, really difficult to do it right now at the moment when our project is going. We can understand it only during the evaluation and our solutions that we deliver to our client. And for that, just to understand that we really solved the problem of our clients, we need to have several, maybe months or even years, understand that this solution works and this BA really did a great job finding right problems and given the right solutions. So
that's why short iterations matters, right?
Yeah.
I just want to be a bad guy still.
Okay.
And I want to challenge one thing, guys. I completely agree and understand that the overall value will be visible at the end when we will see the success of the project, and that's cool. But I still want to understand, how would you recommend to measure efficiency of BA? Because we know that two other guys, two different BAs can do the job successfully, right? But one can spend day for that, another one 1 month or something like that. How can we measure efficiency of BA work? Not the success, that's completely true and clear. I just will compare, really. You know, we have a lot of ways to measure developers, like by completed tasks, committed code, some operational metrics. Do we have something for BA? What would you recommend to you? Because I know a lot of DMs who will ask this question. How can I measure efficiency, really? Not the final result, feedbacks, success, and so on, but just some metrics which can say, all right, what's the speed of your job? I don't know. What do you think?
I think that the same point about the developers when we are trying to measure them by the just closed tasks, because during the different projects, you can have different tasks, and one closed task for this project can be the same for that. And the same for BA, yeah? In one project, I will create a story having just 10 minutes for that, because this is a really simple system with understood domain and all this stuff. For another project, I need to spend, I don't know, several days with my client to understand what he wants and to write down the stories. For me, it's my personal view that the silver bullet, in this case, my silver bullet for myself is that just the great word that you said about story points, that we have these story points for the team, and we have enough tasks for the team to start the iteration at the right moment. And all the tasks around are done. I think for me, it's the main measure of a BA work. And in that case, we also can understand that during the 2 weeks, we have described stories for, I don't know, 33 story points for our team. That will be awesome. But on the other hand, BA is not only about the story points. It's also a lot of different knowledge areas. And according to BA book, we have 6 knowledge areas that describes BA. And all of them need to be done perfectly. Not only stories, but also communication and elicitation, and that we write stories and find during this requirements elicitation, all the requirement that customer just not dictating to us, but we evaluate some hidden requirements and understand some different things, that we are doing some I don't know, some improvements suggest to our clients, because one of the things that we need to be proactive and help our customer. We need to help with conflicts in our during the meetings with our clients, and it's also one of the things that it can be quantitative. It's all, but still need to be done. And for speed, we also can say that BA still can have some requirement that is reusable. It really helps us to speed up, because we all of us did some login logout functionality. I don't know, I think that even million times. So great BA will have these stories for login logout created somewhere in his documentation, and just take it at the moment when the discussion starts, and just do some correction that are needed for this particular customer, and in 10 minutes login logout is ready.
All right, guys, it's a pros, right? What about cons? What is anti-pattern to communicate? What is worst cases, you know, how to measure your performance from your experience?
Just set any metrics and
yes. So first of all, you can count how many CRs they were prepared for the user stories, so the features, so maybe epics for the particular task that's completed by a specific BA. It's an easy way to count how many changes in the already implemented functionalities you will do in future. It's a first one. And the second one, just to be careful with the comparison. So yes, number of story points and so on and so forth, but please compare BAs with the same level, because definitely senior BA will be much much quicker than a middle BA or junior BA, and so on and so forth. So if you want to compare, please compare the same levels.
I would even say that we are not working in vacuum. So we, when we compare, like Yury said, two BAs, we also compare the team for whom they're writing their requirements. We compare domains, customers, availability of stakeholders, everything. And if for maybe similar tasks from the first glance, from one BA takes 3 days and from another one 1 month, maybe it's not the same tasks, same BAs, same team, same domain, and so on. And one question that usually bothers me, why do you need to measure BA performance in this case? To fire one of them? Or?
Not
actually, we are getting
back
back to the very first question of our discussion. As we are not assessing individuals, I would say. We are assessing how good we are in doing or implementing, executing business analysis tasks, that is. And it should say, well, doing business analysis task in this particular way makes us, I know, enough successfully in pushing any changes from the very idea till the implementation. And we see that there is some blockers. I don't know, just because maybe because our function is not so fast as, or not so prompt as we'd like it to be. In that case, we need to understand, maybe to even set some operational metrics and understand where is velocity breaches, where is the source of them, and fix it. And as soon as we fix it, maybe we need to just forget, eliminate all those operational metrics and set some others. And that the continuous process. And once again, not the personality, not the individual, it's at least role, and even better to understand it as a function.
Yeah, answering from management side, Iryna, it's important. Is rather so it's deep enough. If you cannot measure something, you cannot manage it.
Exactly, you cannot improve it. That's right. Another statement I wanted to say.
Yeah, exactly. But you need to understand what to measure first.
Exactly.
Is it good? Is it bad?
I just wanted to say that there is another direction of thinking about that. The last trend, you know, we do not measure individuals, we measure teams. That's why, again, I agree with Iryna that, of course, we need to know all the conditions around, for sure. But from other side, we can think about that as a function or a service. And in this case, we need to understand if it's working well or not. And that's why potentially in some cases we need to measure it. Because BA is a part of the whole project life cycle, I would say, and it's a part of our Kanban, pipeline, whatever. And if we see a bottleneck in a BA function, in a BA service, so we need to fix it. And that's why sometimes we need to measure it still, because we can see some issues with that, which will really fail the whole project success. That's why, again, I agree that measurements of teams is better, but sometimes we need to measure some parts of the system, I would say, to understand if it's working good enough and if we need to improve it or not.
Just in addition about the fixing not always means
processes, fixing processes, not people, for sure.
Yeah. Maybe adding one more BA will be the best result of using metrics around the business analysis.
I also wanted to know that maybe we should measure only what we can improve. Otherwise, should we measure it? So if, for example, going back to our usual number of user stories, we can't improve it because quantity is not equal quality.
Well, we can improve velocity, kind of. Again, we all know that over some time, experience of the team is growing. So typically, theoretically, the speed of producing story points should grow, kind of, right? Again, it's not the proven fact, I would say, but that's how we believe, I would say. That's why I agree that we definitely measure to understand if we can improve it. That's why I typically do it, right? Otherwise, no sense.
The dependency is definitely not linear.
Yeah.
Due to the duplications, traceability, all that stuff. But answering the assumption from Iryna, maybe my answer would be a bit bold, but we definitely need to be able to improve anything within the project. I would say so. Of course, it depends, and sometimes we have limitations, and our role within the project might not be quite authoritative to implement any changes, but influence would be still there. That's why I would correct that a bit, that we need to start measuring what we'd like, what we would like to improve, not what we can improve. Actually, we can. I believe we can everything, but what we'd like. And for that reason, we need to understand how our value is running from the very beginning to the very end. How much time I already?
All right. Yeah, it's exactly good question. I waited for finishing you answer it. So I'm trying to check for questions from our auditory. Unfortunately, it's still 0, guys. So
are you sure you're looking the right way?
I hopefully I hope it's
the
right
online
page. Yeah, guys, you may check it. So, dear auditory, if you see us, right, just to put, anything in this Q&A scene, ask your questions, because we have some topics to discuss yet. And actually, if you have any questions, probably could give us brief feedback that I'm opening the right page at least. So, and we will see. All right, guys, one important thing that Kiryl mentioned, it was about communication, right? It's a word about right communication about doesn't make sense or doesn't make sense. So how to communicate with BA. So, in a project, we have different, roles. It's a developers, it's a QAs, it's a client, it's all other guys. So how you would suggest BA from BA to decide how would you best way to communicate with you, because from developers it could be just give me clear explanation, clear tickets and 100 lines of text. I'll understand, I'll do it. So
easy way, it's like feed and treat.
Carefully and very polite, right?
Yeah.
Talk to us carefully and very polite. Okay.
But it's more if we know all the expectations from us, it's much easier for us to do our job. It's for everyone. So nothing special should be created for BAs. But we really think to, as we are the first line in front of the team during our communication with customer, and with this flexibility, a lot of teams thinks that we really play on the customer side only, and think that they should confront with us all the time because we can't do it, we can't implement it, it's not possible, no time, no capacity, and they usually forget that we are part of the project team as well, and they don't see how we behave with customers, where we protect everyone, and just be more polite.
There is no one else except team who would implement any project, and I would say that we need to treat even client-side representatives, third-party vendors representatives as a team, implementing the same project and treating all those guys similar way. So BA for sure shouldn't be someone like an alien or someone who is a service for me. Just give it to me and get off. No way. And others on other side, BAs also need to understand that not only clients, they're their primary stakeholders whom they're talking most of the time. There are plenty of consumers around, their own team, their management, course, based on their insight, managers made their decision, trying to negotiate some complex things with the client management, etc. So only playing the same game with the team is a way for a better communication there.
That's great. And we have a question actually. So, before we have like 5 minutes left. So, hi everyone. What do you think should BAs inside one team know about velocity of other BAs inside this team? Can it motivate or demotivate?
Well, it's always, it can be both. The comparison is always tricky. I think that it's fine. It's really fair. Within one team, I think the question of the productivity should be quite clear, and typically it's clear. And again, it could be a point for improvements or point of calibration. It depends. I don't see any issues with that, to share this information, because it can be a sign to help or to slow down if it's not required, and so on.
And I believe that metrics are not for penetration. So, of course, it's easy to say, harder to implement this statement, but still, I see not a great deal in comparison. And I would say that it even can motivate when you see that you are not like that at that level than others, because meaning, well, I can do better. And actually it's an opportunity for you to go to your colleagues, to your peers and say, seems like I'm doing something not the right way. Can you say me what exactly? And that is the pros. As a cons, of course, if it was settled like there is a metric and I will make decisions based on this operational metric and I will fire you or something of that crazy kind of thing, of course it would demotivate. But again, my personal attitude, no metrics for penetration, metrics for improvements of the flow of the project, of the functions that we are implementing. All
right. And we have another question. Yes, thanks guys. Limit of time. So there is not any standard way to measure BA performance, right? Is it more like a subjective measure?
It's a bit tricky. It's not subjective. It still can be objective, but it's not a single approach for any project, if to answer in a short way.
Okay, so next question. Hi guys. The product owner role became popular when Agile was created and BA was not an official Agile role. But isn't the product owner role really a business analyst with different title? In my experience, there is a huge overlap in these roles.
And again, we're getting back to the very beginning of our discussion. That is not about the individual or someone playing this role. It's more about the function within the team. And when we were talking about those examples like product managers, they are playing a bit different, they running a bit different functions. In addition to those there were usually in hands of business analysis, but it can still be another one person, not exactly BAs.
All right, guys, that's it. We have to have hard stop now. So hope you enjoyed our conversation. Me as well, yes. So, and see you soon. Thank you guys all. Thank you watchers for being with us today. And that was interesting. Have a nice Friday, have a nice mood, and have a nice weekend. Bye.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Bye.
Have a nice Friday.
Bye.